Hi guys, welcome back. We are now going to be covering question 7 of our business analysis sample paper, our business analysis practice sample paper. So, as always, let's read the question, let's get the context of the scenario, and let's try and identify what they are asking us for in terms of testing us on our knowledge of business analysis. So, and usually, remember, it's usually a technique. We just have to find that keyword about the technique and then apply our knowledge from our studies to the question and see what we can do. So, following her completion of SWOT analysis, Cynthia has prepared a short summary for the chief executive of a housing association. So, this is her summary. This is her summary that she has prepared for the chief executive of the housing association. And Cynthia is more than likely a business analyst or a business consultant, and she's developing, helping the organization maybe develop its strategy or change its strategy or carry out some transformational change in the organization. So, and she's completing a SWOT analysis. So this is the summary of that. Due to the buoyant market for new homes, new development continues at pace. This has resulted in an increase in the amount of social housing being built. The demand for homes is also driving up prices in the private rental sector, resulting in more people seeking social housing. The current level of demand for social housing exceeds supply, and this may get worse if government proposals to reduce the amount of social housing required within new developments are accepted. However, we are in a position to respond to these challenges with a well-trained and motivated workforce. Which of the following is not present in the SWOT analysis? And we've got four answers there, which are the aspects of the SWOT. It's opportunity, threat, strength, and weakness. Okay, so firstly, let's just read the instructions again. So, which of the following is not present in the SWOT analysis? Now we think about the scenario and we think about the context of this question. And this ultimately is a summary of her SWOT analysis that she's maybe presented to the chief executive of the housing association. So she's done her SWOT analysis and now she's developed the summary. Now, what they're asking us is to read through the scenario, the summary that she's created, and see if we can identify aspects of the SWOT and which of those 4 aspects is not present in the scenario. So let's try. Let's first of all, let's think about the SWOT. Let's think about what we know about SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is usually created. It's an analysis of an organization in order to help it with its strategy. And what the business analyst or whoever is carrying out the SWOT analysis does is they're trying to identify where there will be areas for improvement, where there are problems, what can be done about it. And ultimately, this is going to help the organization move towards a better, more improved future state. So the business analyst needs to analyze the organization using various techniques. We can use all these other techniques and feed it into the SWOT analysis, find statements, gather information from people in the organization, and maybe do our own research, and then put this all together into a summary. That's ultimately what the SWOT is, a summary of what the organization is in terms of its current state. And it also gives us a context for the strategy in terms of what we need to do to improve the organization. And The business analyst will need to look at the internal factors of the organization, and they'll need to look at the external factors. So the internal factors are the things that the organization can actually control. It's in the organization's immediate reach. They can do this to that aspect of the organization. They have an aspect of control over that they can change. The external factors are the things that the organization cannot change. They're outside the boundaries of the organization's control. They're factors that are impacting the organization from the outside, and the organization can't do anything about it. So the business analyst needs to analyze both of these factors, the internal and the external factors, and then summarize them in the SWOT analysis, and then present their findings to the executives or the seniors of the organization, and tell them that this is our summary of what we've established, what we've found about the organization. And the SWOT analysis, the four aspects of it are the opportunities, the threats, which are the external factors, and we've got the strengths and weaknesses, which are the internal factors. Now you can see that these two categories can also be broken into negative and positive. So they're things in terms of where the organization can improve or where there are problems that lie from outside the organization or inside the organization. And then the positive elements that are either inside or outside are things that the organization can do from a positive perspective. It's what do we have that is great about us that we can enhance this in the organization and make our organization better. And also, what things are available to us that are outside the organization that we can also use to make the organization better. So these are the internal factors are the strengths and the weaknesses. So these are the strengths of the organization, which are the positive internal factors. The weaknesses are the negative internal factors of the organization. The opportunities are the positive external factors, and the threats are the negative external factors. So we need to look at all of these factors and then, just establish exactly in terms of the range of things that we can do to enhance the organization or improve it. So, and then also we can use other techniques from both the internal and the external perspective, and use the information that we've gathered or analyzed from these techniques and feed these statements into the SWOT analysis. So we may be carrying out Porter's 5 forces analysis, and as we should know, that Porter's it analyzes the external competitive environment of the organization. So it's external to the organization. That's what we're measuring in terms of what are our opportunities and our threats in terms of the competition. We can also use PESTLE analysis. So PESTLE analysis we can use to look at all those categories to see what also is impacting the organization from an external perspective. Then internally, we can carry out a VMOST analysis to analyze the strategic factors and the objectives and the tactics that the organization is doing, to look at what exactly the organization is doing and what is its purpose. What is it striving to be? And what is it doing to do that? That's what VMOST does. But VMOST allows us to look at the internal aspects, the strengths and the weaknesses of the organization from that perspective. We may even be using performance measurement, be looking at what critical success factors and KPIs are being used. We may even use a resource audit for this. So now that we clearly know what SWOT analysis is, let us now try and identify if there are any opportunities, threats, strengths, and weaknesses in the summary that Cynthia has put forward to the chief executive here. So she says that due to the buoyant market for new homes, so it's talking about the market, the external environment in which the organization is operating, new development continues at pace. So it's saying that there's development that's continuing in this market that is actually quite high. So this is a positive statement, and it is something that is really outside of the control of the organization. So this, to me, sounds like an opportunity. It's more linked to an opportunistic statement. And it says this has resulted in an increase in the amount of social housing being built. So this again is once again a positive statement that is saying that there's been an increase in the social housing being built, because the organization that we're analyzing this for is the Housing Association. So it's a positive thing for them. And it's something that the organization is potentially doing inside. So they are building more homes. So this is a positive, maybe a strength of the organization. So it means that there's more houses that are being built in this context. And the demand for homes is also driving up prices in the private rental sector, resulting in more people seeking social housing. So this, once again, is a positive element, and it's something that is external to the organization. It's outside of its control, but it's allowing this organization to be better at what it does. So this, once again, is more of an opportunity. And then it says, the current level of demand for social housing exceeds the supply, and this may get worse if government proposals to reduce the amount of social housing required within new developments are accepted. So it's saying that there's a good thing here and there's also a bad thing. So it's saying the current demand for social housing exceeds supply. And what it's saying is this is going to result in governments reducing the amount of social housing required potentially in the near future and with the new developments. And this is ultimately what the organization is doing. So this, to me, it's an external factor. It's happening outside of the organization's control, but this is a negative thing. This is something that could impact the organization in a negative way. So this is in the threat category of SWOT. Then finally, it says here, however, we are in a position to respond to these challenges with a well-trained and motivated workforce. So potentially what could have happened here is she may have even done a resource audit, and from her analysis that has fed into the SWOT, she's determined that one of the strengths of the organization is that it has a really well-trained and motivated workforce, which the organization could potentially capitalize on. But this statement is indicating that this is a strength because it's telling us in this statement that it's internal. It's actually what the organization has internal to this analysis, and it's within their control. So this falls into the strength category of SWOT analysis. So if we go through all of these categories, we can see that we've got opportunities. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's a strength, and there's also a threat. But there's been no indication that there is any weaknesses to the organization here. It hasn't said anything like the organization, like an internal negative factor about what is bad about the organization. It hasn't said something like the organization is failing in terms of this or is not being able to achieve that. That would indicate a weakness in the organization. So I hope that's shown you how to answer a question like this, and has given you a little bit more information in terms of SWOT analysis. And remember, SWOT analysis is a widely used technique, and it's used to develop the strategy of an organization. And it has its internal factors, its external factors, and it also has its negative and positives. So you can categorize them into those four quadrants, and you can take all the statements that you've gathered from other analysis, your internal and your external analysis, and you can feed these statements into your SWOT analysis. You can put them in those categories, and this will help you to present or to help organizations develop better strategies and identify areas for improvement, identify where they can capitalize on areas that are good in the organization and can make them even better in the future. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. And in the next question, we're going to be going through question 8. So I'll see you there.